And hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mildra. I am your one and only gaming monk. And it is time for the after party. Hello there, Nakuhime. I see you finally followed the Twitch channel. I do appreciate that. Every bit helps. So,
Yep.
We'll eventually get to a bit of gaming, since I was gonna do Project Wingman, then it didn't want to cooperate, so I'm gonna have to do the whole uninstall and reinstall, and that's gonna take a bit. So instead later on tonight I'll be loading up Titan Quest 2. But before any of that, I decided that it's high time that I did what I had originally planned on doing on Saturday, and I hinted at this during the Geek Watch stream earlier, but I didn't get around to, because I was in no condition to perform. So we are now past July and into August, and hello there, Hydra, Dalthamir, Nakuhime, and Justin. So we ended up doing. Let me collect myself for a moment, because my mind's going in 3 places at once. Sorry about that. So one of the things I talked about in the Victory Lap stream for Legend Edition is doing what I called monthly design challenges. The central idea with them is a monthly prompt. A prompt built on either designing a shard, designing a job, or designing a character. And earlier today I put up a new batch, and for those who are new to this kind of thing, all of those are going to be in the Discord, and the link to the Discord is in the low bar for both YouTube and Twitch. Now, there were 4 entries in total for the 2 challenges. One of them was make a job themed around the word psychic. The other one was make a shard. A shard is our version of like a micro setting, themed around the words, I should say, mech as character sheet. Sort of in the same way that your mech is your character sheet in games like Lancer. And now when it came to the shard challenge, there was one person who was writing it, but unfortunately he didn't follow the rules. I specifically stated multiple times that if the thread for your entry is in the Homebrew forum and not the Jams and Challenges forum, I will not count it as an entry.
It needs to be submitted where our submissions are collated in order for it to be considered a submission.
Mm-hmm. Because the reason why I'm not counting it in the Homebrew is because Homebrew entries is a forum where a bunch of people are putting stuff that is in various stages of development, and not all of them are going to be tied to the theme, and I don't want to go scour the forum every month for this. Hence, Jams and Challenges are for these monthly challenges or any design jams we may do in the future, and Homebrew is just for standard ass Homebrew. So no disrespect to Amov. I liked what he was doing. However, the rules are the rules. And as the organizer of these challenges, I can't give anyone any special exceptions. So instead, we have 3 psychic entries. Now, I did make clear that yes, there was the psychic dress sphere in 10.2, but that's the only time something with the name psychic has appeared in Final Fantasy, and I didn't want people to assume you had to do that. Me using the dress sphere image in the post that I made was just a placeholder. Same with having Arc. At least Arc from one of the mobile games in that. But the first one I'm going to be looking at is the one that was submitted by Good Brother Sig. This was the last submission that we got. This is the one that's going to say Cypher at the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Psychic. Some are born with the gift of magic, able to bend the ethereal energies of the world to their will. And hi there, Brian. I see you there. Psychics, however, can bend and move the physical world merely by thought. Not much is understood about psychics, and some are even feared for their abilities. Able to blast through the battlefield with telekinetic blasts, using the feedback they generate to aid their allies and confound their enemies. A psychic is truly a force to be reckoned with. So their limit break is ESP. For the remainder of the encounter, when you are the target of a weapon attack, as a reaction, you may make a dodge roll, adding the appropriate modifier per the GM's ruling. Essentially,
I think they mean automatically succeed at a dodge roll, because dodge rolls are a normal reaction.
Yeah. So, that would be the assumption. The limit break, I think, could use a little bit more clarification.
Well, looking at this limit break, and then I did some scanning of the later features.
Mm-hmm.
This limit break doesn't really fit the rest of the features. For those who are unaware of how our limit breaks were intended to work, they take the kit of the job, whatever job it might be,
mm-hmm.
and jump it up to 11. It's meant to take that job and break it even further. For example,
when I hinted at the concept when we were doing one of the things I do remember bringing up was the mid-level game breaker that is in class design in Fantasy Craft.
Yeah, and I like to use one of the classes in the core book, the Summoner, for this example because it's the most visibly easiest to understand. Summoners, as they level up, each circle they get a new summon. They will have, at 7th circle, 7 different Eidolons in their arsenal. And part of getting Eidolons is you get affinity benefits based on the Eidolon you currently have active. Alexander gives you damage reduction to Holy. Gilgamesh gives you damage reduction to Physical. Odin increases your critical success threat range by 1. Ramu gives you damage reduction to Lightning. Things of that nature. And it only benefits you if that's the active summon. As you get higher up and you get, say, Grand Summon, where you're allowed to have 2 Eidolons out at the same time, you can have 2 of those benefits at the same time. But the limit break for Summoner is called Final Summon. For the remainder of the encounter, you are treated as if all of your available Eidolons are active, but you may only use one major action or minor action you have access to across all Eidolons each turn. If you have the 5th circle feature Grand Summon, you may use one major action and one minor action each turn, but they must be from 2 different Eidolons. So first, with Grand Summon, it allows you to use a major action and a minor action of 2 separate summons that are out. Final Summon allows you to use one major action and one minor action of any of your 7 summons. It'll automatically bring those ones that you use out. But on top of that, it gives you the affinities of all 7 of your summons at once. So that limit break takes the package that we've given with Summoner and takes it and breaks it further. That's what the idea behind the limit breaks here. And from what I'm seeing, just scanning the rest of the features in this particular class, ESP does not follow that design suit. So I would say that the limit break fails.
So, yeah. I can definitely see that, and with a lot of the other limit breaks you see, that's a key thing is they are game breakers of what they are better versions of what the kit already does. Since one of the
Hmm.
things we wanted to avoid was the Uber attack, because that's honestly not as interesting.
The Uber attack is fine for video games. It makes sense for video games.
It's also
An
been
Uber
done.
attack
It's also
can,
been done by our predecessors plenty of times.
yeah, yes, it's something that's been done to death for tabletop, and yes, it can work in tabletop. There's examples of Uber attacks in numerous games I don't care to even start mentioning. But we wanted something that felt closer to our design philosophy of things like high customization, risk versus reward gameplay, things of that nature.
Mhm.
So we took the limit break to the point of take a kit, break it further.
Yeah. So then at first circle, you gain the feedback resource. When you take damage, you gain 1 point of feedback up to 3. You do not gain feedback after taking damage from failed dodge or parry rolls, and feedback resets to 0. So we have a momentum type builder spender.
Yep, it's like
And
it's like Sentinel points or anything like that,
mhm.
or Overwatch points and such.
Brian says, "Guess we'll work on something next time this happens." We're doing another one for August. I had put
Yeah,
out the
there's
announcement.
one every month.
Mm-hmm. But
So if you look in the jams and challenges section on the Discord right now, you'll see that the August edition is up, and we'll talk about that more once we're finished reviewing this.
yeah,
These classes.
so yep. Then we have Psychokinesis 1. By spending 1 point of feedback, you may give your weapon an elemental property, either fire or ice. Only one property may be imbued on a weapon at a time, so if you have imbued a weapon with fire and wish to imbue the weapon with ice, you lose one elemental property to gain the other. This is... Couldn't... My big question is, what's the difference between this and putting the elemental tag on your weapon?
Well, I can see the big difference, Monk. When you create a weapon, that tag is generally permanent, unless you've got an enchanted weapon that allows you to do that. Whatever. This allows you to be more flexible in combat. You don't even have to use an action to spend that point of feedback. You just give your weapon the elemental property.
Mhm.
I might have reduced that to you can only change this elemental property once per combat round. But other than that, I find this to be pretty... This is pretty standard. This is, hey, we're coming up against a thing. I have a weapon that, say, because I'm a paladin, is imbued with holy already.
Mhm.
But this thing isn't weak to holy, but it's weak to fire.
Yeah.
So I'll put fire on the weapon, and because of the way our damage modifiers work, it always uses the damage modifier most beneficial to the attacker, and so the fire is what's going to go through.
Mhm. We'll get back to Psychokinesis when we get to the next part in its chain, since it's doing the Roman numeral thing.
Okay.
So at second circle, you get Psychic Bomb. As an action, you can spend 2 points of feedback to cast Mind Blast at 5th rank.
Mind Blast is the only damaging illusion magic, isn't it? Well, the only...
Let me...
It's the only one that does direct damage, yes.
Yeah.
It is a 5th rank spell, which means normally you can't cast it until you're at 5th circle. It inflicts non-elemental damage based on the spell's rank and stun 1, and it starts at 2d10 damage. Having to take damage twice to be able to cast Mind Blast at 2nd circle? I'm not so sure.
I think the other thing is this... Are you doing a casting roll, or is this Mind Blast without having to do the casting roll? Because if it was the latter, that I could at least understand. You're paying in damage to get a shortcut.
Yeah, I bet that he means, like, because of the way of how specific our terminology can get, I can understand that designing these classes may be a little. They may not have all the terminology down like we do. I mean, they aren't the devs; we are.
Yeah.
The intention I see from this feature is you're taking 2 points. You're getting 2 points of feedback from taking 2 instances of damage, so that you can throw out Mind Blast at 5th rank by itself as that shortcut. It's slow. It's a slow startup for one. 2 points of feedback may not be easy for you to get depending on how you've built your character, or it might be. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you're just throwing out 5th rank Mind Blast, no modifiers, no meta magic, nothing like that. Just 2d10 and stun 1. Boom. I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't have to also try and cast it like you would with MP. But I'm pretty sure the intent was you spend the feedback and there's the spell. No casting roll. You just have to make the spell attack roll to see if you even hit, like normal, and then roll damage.
Mm-hmm. So, 3rd circle, you get telekinesis. As an action, you may spend 1 point of feedback, choosing either an ally or yourself. You may grant the positive condition float.
There's no duration.
Yeah. Yeah, no duration on that.
We need. The big thing here is when you're giving conditions, you definitely want to have a duration for whether it's positive or negative. You want to see how long it's going to last.
Mm-hmm.
With no duration, all this says is, oh, you gave float to somebody infinitely, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. But then we have Psychokinesis 2. As Psychokinesis 1, but you may now imbue Earth or Wind, spending 2 points. I don't know why there's an extra cost.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you're
I don't
adding
understand.
elemental damage to it, even if it is 2 other potential elements. I don't see why this had to be 2 points of feedback.
Yeah, I don't see 2 points of feedback as a good cost.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, I think if we were designing this, we'd just say it costs the same as Psychokinesis 1.
Yeah.
It's 1 point of feedback, but now you've got a wider breadth of elements. It's just like Yokai Gilgamesh's stuff for his Legend of weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do anything new or additional. It's just you have to pick from the pairs to make sure that you get which one you want.
Yeah.
That's it.
So then we have 4th circle, where you gain Brainstorm. By spending 2 points of feedback, you may, as an action, inflict the negatives conditions Silence and Stun on a single enemy. Once again, where's the duration?
More importantly, Monk, where the fuck is the ability to counter it, if necessary?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just you inflict the negative conditions. There's no, you have to roll to hit or anything. I mean, 2 points of feedback, 2 instances of damage that could potentially be very high, maybe. But if I were going to do this, if it's just a free silence and stun for, say, duration 1 or even 2, I would say that's 3 points of feedback. If this is, you can inflict silence and stun, but you still have to roll, an attack roll to make sure it hits, then 2 points of feedback is fine by me. But without that caveat, I feel like this is either too much of a freebie and it's going to, even at 4th circle, or not enough of one, depending on what conditions there are there. I say it's not specific enough.
Yeah. And you also gain Feedback Loop. At the start of a combat encounter, gain 1 feedback after rolling initiative.
I like that. It's a jump start.
Mm-hmm.
That's just good for 4th circle.
Yep.
I'd actually probably put that down at 3rd circle, though, just because that feels a little more fair.
Mm-hmm. So then at 5th circle, you gain Teleport. As a reaction, you may spend 2 points of feedback to move yourself or an ally out of range of an enemy attack, as if using the dodge reaction, moving them to the appropriate row to avoid damage.
Basically, a 2-point auto dodge for yourself or an ally.
Mm-hmm.
And it also changes rows.
Yeah.
That's actually really useful. And the cost is quite nice. to having to take at least one instance of damage at that point if you're at, because at the top of the initiative now you're getting 1 point when you first roll. But that's actually quite nice. I just like the theme of that. It's like, oh, I'm helping people by pulling them out of damage literally with my mind. Because I can almost guarantee you'd probably use this on things other than yourself more often than you'd use it on yourself.
Yeah. You also get Psychokinesis 3, as with 2, but you may imbue your weapon with the lightning or water elemental properties. Since it's saying as with Psychokinesis 2, I'm assuming that those properties
it means 2 points.
Cost 2 points. So refer back to what I said about Psychokinesis 2 and repeat it here.
Yeah.
Then for 6th circle, we have Psychic's Guard. I don't think the S was supposed to be there. By spending 3 points of feedback, erect a psychic barrier to become immune to all physical attacks for the remainder of the encounter. Does not stack with Magic Guard, which is at 7th.
No. You see, that's something that would be more limit breaky. That's way too powerful. Even for 3 points of feedback, a barrier to be immune to all physical attacks, all physical damage for the remainder of an encounter, that's a limit break.
Yeah. I get the whole barrier thing, but
yeah,
I think I think the issue that I have is that not being immune to magic is not enough of a hard counter.
Yeah, this is a hard counter to everything that does physical damage, period, end of story. Anything that targets physical defense, does physical damage, you're just immune to it. There's a lot of stuff in the game that does physical damage or targets physical defense. This is busted. Like, this is what I would expect from a limit break. And even then, it's more powerful than most of our limit breaks.
Yeah.
This is just... If I were going to make this more reasonable, I would say by spending 3 points of feedback, erect a psychic barrier that gives you damage reduction physical X for 3 turns, because 3 points, 3 turns, and then does not stack with Magic Guard.
Yeah.
Or for 3 rounds. Yeah. So that way you get something good out of getting hit a bunch. You're like, oh, I've been hit a bunch. Well, here's a big old physical, DRX physical. I am taking minimized damage on all of your physical attacks for the next 3 turns. It's a nice stopgap. It pardon me. It can get you out of some sticky situations. It is sixth circle, so depending on the rest of your kit, it could be superfluous, but assumedly, this would be something that you'd synergize with other things.
And then you also get Psychic Bomb 2. By spending 3 points of feedback, as an action you may cast Mind Blast at spell rank 8. This affects both rows.
No, I don't like that either. I know why he said spell rank 8, because that's where it does 3d10 damage instead of 2d10. But in order to make a single target, any row area spell multi-target, you also have to meta magic it. And this is essentially giving you a higher ranked spell plus some meta magic for 3 feedback points. That seems a little... Like, if it were a different meta magic, I wouldn't have an issue.
Hang on, I need to do a bit of an...
Actually, I don't even think we have a way to make single target spells multi-target in meta magic. Never mind. I'm looking now.
No, I didn't do that because I remember that at the time I'd felt that would would overlap with the full-on multi-target ones, with the
Yeah,
multi-targeting
yeah,
spells.
definitely. It definitely does. So I literally just cannot find a reason to keep that version of this. Psychic Bomb 2 just does not fit.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't fit the game, and frankly doesn't even really fit the class.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to continue to use Mind Blast, as for 3 points, I think what you should get is, first of all, Mind Blast rank 9. It should be rank 9 when you're at but 6th circle. And maybe the stun is inflicted for longer. And that would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But making it hit everything? No.
Yeah. But then we have 7th Circle, which grants Magic Guard, which works the same way as Physics Guard, just with magic attacks. And
refer back to my fix for Physics Guard as to how I would fix Magic Guard.
Yep, and Psychokinesis 4, which you can imbue with your weapon with holy and shadow properties. And again, I have to ask why the increased cost for the elements.
I get a feeling that maybe what Sig was looking at was there are certain elements in the Final Fantasy games that feel rather common and by their very nature later on in the games aren't as useful, which is not true, but I won't get into that. And sees Holy and Shadow as something more esoterically powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I just keep everything as 1 point of feedback for cost, and you're just getting new sets of stuff. I would honestly make a Psychokinesis. I'd bring Psychokinesis 5 down into 6th Circle, and Psychokinesis 3 down into, like, could stay where it is, or maybe come even down into 4th Circle, and then I'd make a Psychokinesis 5 in 7th Circle, where you'd get for 3 points, you get Prismatic Weapon Elemental.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, like as per. Hold on, let me see if I can find the spell. We have a lot of spells, people.
Yep.
I apologize for my. As per our Illusionist Prismatic Spray spell, you could give yourself Prismatic Weapon for 3 rounds, and anytime you'd hit, you'd roll a d8 to check what effects you get.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing fire, earth, or lightning damage, poisoning, petrifying, confusing, or slowing, or getting 2 effects if you roll an 8.
Yeah. But
that's what I would do.
It sounds like this is supposed to be like the psychic that Sig ended up making. It sounds like what it's supposed to be is a frontliner who uses damage for its offense and for its counters, which I can certainly get that. But I think the issue is that there's some stuff in here that is far too powerful for its own good, and some stuff that doesn't mesh. Like,
and ultimately, I feel like it isn't fully cohesive.
There isn't a unified voice with it. Are you saying it feels more like a single character class rather than a job?
That, and it feels like there were 2 very separate identities mished together.
Mm-hmm.
There's the whole, I'm going to imbue stuff with my psychic powers, and then there's the whole, I'm just going to straight up do psychic damage or block damage with psychic powers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the psychokinesis and the telekinesis and the teleports all feel like they're one character, but then Psychic Bomb and the guards all feel like they're a different character.
Yeah. And this is something to make clear. When it comes to job design, one of the things that we tried to really hammer home is that Each individual job is meant to embody a very specific playstyle, and the multi-purposeness comes from the combination of your jobs. But looking in the comments, Brian says we'll definitely have to read a bunch to work something up, but this prompt gave me the silly idea of a side cook. And then a game with a lot of spells colored me shocked with a prismatic spray. And Nakuhime is saying, if I'd set out to design a job with what I knew about the game at the start of July, I think it would have come out gibberish, actual nonsense. Sounds like one of my drafts. You'd be in good company. So, the next one that we're going to be looking at is from the Commodore.
Yep, and he's in the YouTube chat.
Mm-hmm. So, only the fool dismisses the psychic's ability to read the ripples radiating from the nexus of the physical, mental, and arcane. The skills informed by this prescient insight of these mental warriors can turn the tides of social, political, and military campaigns before the first word is uttered, scheme implemented, or tactic employed. Limit break is enter the matrix. Each combat round, you may take your turn immediately before one participant instead of during initiative order. If so, your action must target either that participant or yourself.
I haven't looked at the rest of the kit, but this sounds like it's building on whatever the rest of the kit does so far. I really like that. Mm-hmm. We'll come back to the limit break once we know more about the kit.
Yep. So, first circle, we get a few features. First being mental agility. Any untrained skill that uses mind for its modifier generates its modifier value as if it were a trained skill.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Because it allows for you to be better, more rounded, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is essentially raising the floor for your skill kit.
Yes, absolutely.
Which gives me the idea that expert would probably be expert would probably be a good pairing with this, but you can do others if need be. So then we have psionics. You have a natural psychic weapon attack. This weapon may be equipped as a free action. Following an attack using psionics, you automatically equip your previously equipped weapon. This weapon uses the following statistics: metatype physical, template short, tags piercing, as well as telekinesis. If this attack would generate extra effort dice, you may instead reposition the target.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It definitely gives the idea that you're going more for effect than for damage, which is why it's using piercing, which gimps damage but makes it easier to generate extra effort.
Yeah, it's got an internal synergy, which is nice.
Yep. You gain the Sixth Sense feat. This feat does not count towards your character's feat slot limit. So
that one gives me a little bit of pause, because the Sixth Sense is once per round, an attack roll targeting you automatically misses if its total is lower than your misdirection defense. And it's looking like every circle gives some sort of feat.
And granting feats as class features was something we tried to avoid.
Yeah. Like, we had ways for people to play around with feats as part of class features, looking at things like the Weapon Master and such.
Mm-hmm. But then at second circle, you gain spellcasting, gain access to the illusion magic spell list. Psychic casting. Magic accessed and cast through psychic circle features must be cast as innate and cannot be casted at a rank higher than your highest unlocked psychic circle.
I'm kind of wondering why.
That is a good question. I have a feeling it's done to so that this doesn't completely step on the illusionist job.
Well, the illusionist already has the special part of the veils. Is the big one. I'm just wondering why on the the rank limit. Because that means that you'll never be able to hit, even with this class, you'll never be able to hit 8th or 9th level in any, or 8th or 9th rank in any of the spells. Even though you're rolling using innate rules.
Yeah. Then we have Read the Room. Whenever you roll a d20 during a skill game, roll 2d20 and instead take the preferred result.
There needs to be a limit to this. Having it anytime you roll a d20 during a skill game means every round in a skill game you're getting to roll with advantage, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a limit to it.
And depending on the skill game, I'm not sure if that kind of thing would fit.
Yeah.
Especially for the more option-based skill games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things like parkour and dueling.
Mm-hmm.
As for things like investigation and interrogation, I could see this. But then you gain the preemptive attack feat. This does not count towards your character's feat slot count.
Yep. Preemptive attack. Hold on, that's on melee combat. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just on normal combat. I don't know. Oh no, here it is. If you roll a natural 18 plus on initiative, you may make one weapon or spell attack before initiative order is calculated. Again, giving out feats as part of a class was something we tried to avoid.
And
it looks like you're getting one every circle.
Yeah. Part of the reason we tried to avoid it is I felt that giving them would potentially bottleneck what someone could do with that job too much.
Or it would not necessarily bottleneck them, because this is, hey, here are some feats you get, but that don't even take feat slots, which is also very overpowered. But it would bottleneck how somebody might think about how they want to build their character.
Yeah. You and I have dealt with the people who will lambast you if you pick certain feats over others, or the false choice thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Commodore does say he was going for psychic feeling feats in this and didn't want the illusionist less relevant and make this too powerful. We'll get back to that. So for third circle, you gain Psionics 2. Your attack using Psionics can gain either the physical or arcane meta type instead of just physical. It gains the Magnum tag, and you step up the weapon damage die by 1. But it's still the short template.
Yeah, and you still have the piercing tag, so you've basically undone the weapon damage die lowered from piercing.
Yeah. Now, expanding meta type and tags, that I've got no problem with. The stepping up the weapon damage die part of it, I'm a little iffy on.
Yeah, because the whole reason that it looked like Psionics 1 was created was because you wanted to get that effect off, where you could use the extra effort die generation to reposition targets without their, And so stepping up the weapon damage die seems to have just given up the trade-off that you gave for that ability to reposition pretty freely.
Mm-hmm. And that I don't want to say that it's full pay not to suck, but it is reminding me of the feat tax for two-weapon fighting in more litigious RPGs from the early 2000s.
Hmm.
But you also gain the size up feat. This,
Um,
of course, does not count
you may make
towards.
a knowledge or orienteering roll versus skill defense against one enemy target of your choice. On a success, you and your allies learn the complete list of combat abilities the target possesses.
Mm-hmm.
See, what I would do with all these feats that you're getting is I would make this one specific feature at first circle that slowly gets additional options, and you get to choose one of these to use once per encounter, because these are all very powerful feats.
Mm-hmm. These would be powerful feats if you took them as part of a feat slot, but
Yes.
there's already ways to get additional feats through things like affiliations,
Magic items.
and yes, magic items. Um, but then we get to fourth circle. You gain the manipulative feat. This does not count towards your feat slot count.
Manipulative. When you succeed at a knowledge roll related to a participant, you gain a boon to presence or misdirection rolls against that participant.
And you gain residue of the prepared. Once per skill game, in lieu of using read the room, you may flip the d20 roll an ally makes.
That's a fun little ability. I like it.
Mm-hmm. And at fifth circle, you gain Psionics 3. You add the traumatizing tag to your Psionics attack. You step up the weapon damage die again, and you may deal half of the total damage dealt by the attack to 1d4 other targets in the same row.
The problem I have with that is whenever you do row-based attacks in our game, you roll to see if you beat everyone's defenses
Mm-hmm.
to see if they even receive damage in the first place. Plus, stepping up the damage die again just kind of seems like numbers go up at that point.
Yeah, especially since the thing with the weapon damage die is there's a trade-off of higher damage die means less opportunities to get extra effort, which is why something like piercing exists.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, is psionics supposed to be more about the damage or more about the effect? Is what I'm trying to see.
Yeah.
Because I feel like by the time you get to fifth circle, you're going to have other options if you want to do straight up damage, least of which being your weapons. Plus,
Yeah.
weapons already scale damage due to getting additional die every few levels.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So then you also gain the Betcha I Didn't feat.
Betcha I didn't. Once per scene, you may treat a failure as if your natural roll was equal to 20 minus the result rolled, i.e. a natural 1 becomes a natural 19.
Mm-hmm.
So Betcha I didn't is just a straight up die flip, another die flip.
Yep.
This does not activate a critical success.
Mm-hmm. And at sixth circle, you gain the Retcon feat.
Once per scene, you may alter how... Hold on, we wrote this a little funky, but I'll say it again. Once per scene, you may alter how up to 2 participants in the scene recall a conversation, dialogue, or written statement. Depending on the extent of the alteration, this may be permanent. If the GM wishes, you may roll misdirection versus their respective skill defense to have them believe the new recollection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which would definitely fit the theme of a psychic.
Mm-hmm.
The other feature is Victory Was Inevitable. Once per skill game, you may flip 1 opponent's d20 roll.
Once again, depending on the skill game, that may not be super helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at 7th circle, you gain Synaptic Collapse. The successful psionics attack lets you suppress immunity to a negative condition of the targeted opponent. If a negative condition is inflicted on an opponent with an immunity suppressed by Synaptic Collapse, that opponent regains immunity to that condition after the condition is removed. That condition can no longer be suppressed by Synaptic Collapse for the remainder of the encounter.
A way to bypass condition immunity is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it builds on the psionics weapon definitely shows that the intention is more about the effect than anything.
Yeah. So overall, I'd say this one is a bit more solid in terms of its intent. Though this
Well,
I think we should go back to the limit break.
The limit break. The limit break does not feel cemented in the kit. Like, yeah, it's letting you manipulate initiative order so that you can do something specifically to either yourself or the participant you're acting before. But that's a little generic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as ESP was, which didn't feel attached to the class at all. But this limit break could have been more robust in causing your kit to break wide open.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if this class could use a little bit of polish, but not nearly as much as was necessary for the previous psychic class.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that what the psionics should do, rather than getting extra weapon damage dice, is for telekinesis to get extra cool stuff to do.
Yeah, extra.
So, for
options.
example, yeah, rather than repositioning, maybe instead of reposition, you can choose to inflict knockdown as per Bull Rush at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like with the 5th circle one, you could choose to inflict entangled or something of that nature. Like, you get more options on what your psychic power can cause a person to do.
Yes.
And getting the extra tags and everything is nice. I would also note that this should probably scale the amount of damage dice the same way our weapon attack dice do in the advancement formula. Just add that note to it, because that way its scale is still its damage is still somewhat relevant, even though it's doing D6s. It's still useful beyond just
D4s.
a way to inflict stuff.
It's doing D4s because of piercing.
Short template is the mid template for ranged monk. It would be point blank if it were doing D4s. It's doing D8s base, and then it would be doing D6s after.
Yeah, my bad. So I end up getting things crosswired. When it comes to the casting part, honestly, the whole that whole thing of illusions of illusion magic being innate, I think that should be cut.
I don't. So with all the other tools that you've given to this particular class, I think the spell casting is superfluous. You don't really need it. This thing does a bunch of other stuff with skills and with the psionics ability, that the actual casting, I understand you wanted to go, oh cool, I can mess with someone's mind and thus their perception of reality, but it feels like it's tacked on for the sake of being tacked on rather than being central to the identity of the job.
Mm-hmm.
If I were going to do it, this is where I'd take how you got all those feats added in, and I'd actually make that like a list of, you can use the effects of these feats once per encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Because these feats are very powerful by themselves. Taking them for a feat slot is completely understandable for the type of character you might be playing. But then being able to have like a once per scene / once per encounter use of any one of these feats would be a cool way to simulate a psychic getting that psychic advantage in whatever situation they're in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only one, and it's only once per scene or encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's where you could implement more into your limit break, or maybe add it to like 2 uses per encounter, when you get to a higher circle.
Yeah.
As for all the skill game stuff, honestly, I think you should just have the options of using each of these, of using read the room, residue of the prepared, and victory was inevitable a certain number of times per a skill game, but instead of it being d20 rolls, I think it should do something with token generation. I'm not sure what, but since tokens are important no matter the skill game, that's going to be much more universal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he did say he didn't want to make illusionists less relevant to make this too powerful. If you didn't want to make things too powerful, then what was with those bonus feats? I know bonus feats is kind of a habit in things like 3rd edition and Pathfinder, but let's be honest, feats in those games were far more incremental and in some cases useless in the grand scheme of things, as opposed to what we have here. He said, I hadn't thought about rolling against all the enemies. And for Psionics, I like the idea of repositioning, but was worried it would be less useful after a while. Repositioning will rarely ever be less useful. Especially since, at the end of the day, forced movement is still forced movement. And because of how specific the positioning ranges are, if somebody wants to do the hit and run stuff like 4th edition kobolds, they are going to have a more difficult time. And I really think the strongest point when it comes to this particular job is how it's handling this idea of psionics as a specialized weapon attack.
Yeah, my big thing is this definitely seems like it's trying to be an expert or adept. Because it has the skill stuff and then it has psionics. And yeah, the evolving weapon is a really nice one. Like I said, rather than adding more weapon damage dice to it each time it gets more powerful, make telekinetics do more. Like at 1st circle it has reposition. At 3rd circle it has bull rush. At 5th circle it gets entangle. Whatever you want to do with that. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Also, make sure that its damage dice scales with the weapon damage dice table as per our advancement table. That's really it. I really think that the spell casting can be taken out in favor of making it so that you can use these specific feats that he felt were proper for the class once per encounter or once per scene.
Yeah.
And then finally, for the skill game stuff, make it play with token generation and less about d20 rolls, because token generation is universal to all skill games. As for enhancing the limit break, there are numerous ways you could do that. You could expand on psionics, you could expand on the skill game stuff, or you could even make it so that you can use the effects of two of these feats at a time. There'd be numerous ways to make it more expanded in that particular way. But this is still very well put together. There's just a little bit of polish it needs. That's all.
Yeah. So then we get to the 3rd one. This is from Dalthamir, and I do, and let me try and zoom in a little bit so you guys aren't squinting.
Yeah, we had to put this on Notepad.
So it is an independent psyker. As long as life has been around, the power of the mind had remained unharnessed. That is until the psychers, those dedicated to the study of the psychic weave that binds all living beings. It surrounds us, it binds us, it brings the whole universe together.
Duct tape?
Yep. Duct tape is like the Force. It has a light side, it has a dark side, and it binds the universe together. It says I wrote it in Notepad. Well, that explains a few things. You get their craft. A dedicated psyker can influence an opponent to bend to their will by a manner of manipulating the weave, while even a rookie can impart their will over a small portion of their mindscape. They say that the most advanced psychers can even steal the energies of those around them. Limit break, psychic spike. Whenever you gain PP, You may gain double that amount. Until the end of this scene, you may hold up to 20 PP. We'll come back to this
He's
later.
doubling our peepees.
Yeah. No. None of that in the chat. Shame on you.
You knew I was going to make the joke, Monk.
Hmm. And Brian says he needs to figure out how big a zine is. There's no set page limit on terms of a zine. But if it would be too big for a magazine, then it's too big.
If it's too big for a magazine article, because usually they were one article.
Yep. So
as much as I hate to give the most litigious game any attention, Dragon Magazine did a really good job about doing this. Go look up stuff for zines from Dragon Magazine.
Or White Dwarf.
Or White Dwarf. White Dwarf works too. You're right.
Okay, then we have first circle. First thing you get is manipulation techniques. You gain a number of manipulation techniques equal to your highest psych or circle. You may swap these during downtime. Okay, we're dealing with that kind of thing. And power points. Power points can be used to enhance your manipulation techniques by stepping up the base die used for the infliction roll. Before you roll for the technique, you must declare you're spending PP. Up to 2 power points. I'm just saying that so nobody makes any jokes.
They're going to make them anyway.
Yeah, maybe used per technique. As a free action, you may roll 1d6. On a d5, you may gain 1 power point. On a 6, you may gain 2. You may hold up to 10, and this carries between scenes. So this is the resource. Minor nitpick, but you could probably put in resource in parentheses for this.
Yeah, but that's
like I said, that's splitting hairs.
Yep. I would like to note that saying that rolling the 1d6 is a free action, you might want to say you can only do this once per round or only once on your turn, because otherwise they're going to say free action, roll 1d6, there's a PP. Free action, roll 1d6, there's 2 PP.
Yep.
Right there.
He does say, one thing I wish I had done is proofread, maybe adjust the dice roll by stepping up by 1 step, because I don't think I understood the mechanics behind statuses fully. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. And third thing you get at first circle is Hypnotism 1. If you successfully use one of your manipulation techniques on an enemy, you may inflict sleep on that enemy for 1d2 turns.
Hey, look, a duration, Monk.
At second circle, you gain Shared Memory. Whenever you or an ally would attempt a knowledge roll that one of you have an interest for, you may spend 1 power point to grant them a boon as if they had the interest for it if they did not. I.e., if your ally would roll to study an arcane sigil and you had an interest that applies, you may use this feature to grant them a boon as if they had the interest themselves.
I like that. That's cool.
And Brian says there's a lot of Pibba Pipkins running around for free right now. And down me sit. I think I meant to do both the once per turn and the whole resource in parentheses thing. I kind of figured, which is why I didn't make too much of a big deal of it. So then we have Dream Eater 1. When attacking an enemy inflicted with sleep, you may choose to gain HP or MP equal to 1d4 times the remaining duration of sleep.
I think here, rather than making a multiplier a die roll, I'd just make it a flat multiplier. Like, Dream Eater 1, 2 times the remaining duration of sleep, I think. Because it looks like Dream Eater is going to level up. And so...
We'll get back to that in a moment.
Yeah.
So, at third circle, you gain Clear Your Mind. As an action, you may target an ally and make a d20 roll using your Mind modifier against a TN of 12. On a success, you may remove all instances of Sleep, Charm, Berserk, Stun, and Confusion from them.
I feel like this is a little too powerful. Most, other than certain spells, most condition removal is on a 1-for-1 basis.
I'd say a lot of our multi-clears are at higher tiers than third.
Yeah. So what I would if I were going to do this, I might make it an increasing thing. Like it starts being able to remove 1, and then later on it becomes able to remove 2 or 3. I'd also make the target number a little higher. 12's fairly easy at third circle, especially if you've made mind one of your A and Bs. At that point, you have additional mind to spare.
Yep. So, fourth circle, you gain Hypnotism 2 as Hypnotism, except you inflict sleep for 1d4 turns.
I have no problem with durations being dice because we already have it so that durations are based on things like spell rank or effect dice. So this just plays into that.
Yeah. And a lot of the consumables have their effects as
dice.
But
yep.
Then we have Mental Haze. As an action, you may make a d20 roll using your mind modifier against a TN of 16. On a success, all enemies gain 1 Bane. On a critical success, all enemies gain 2 Banes. On a fail, all allies gain 1 Bane. On a critical fail, all allies gain 2 Banes. I think the question is this Bane like permanent, or is this on their next d20 roll?
If it Monk under our Banes and Boons, we already say that Banes and Boons are on the next roll.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should assume generic because there's nothing more specific, and thus generic is it's on the next action.
All right.
Next action that they would roll for.
In that case, I'm fine with this approach.
Mm-hmm. It's really fun, and it could go really bad if you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So I like that it plays very heavily into risk versus reward.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how this would work with Boon Bane trading. I'm guessing it wouldn't. I'm guessing it would just be standard fare.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing else to say that it interacts differently.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So then we have fifth circle, which you gain meditation. As an action, you may roll 1d8 and gain power points equal to the result. You may use this feature once per encounter or downtime. You cannot use the free action to generate power points the same turn you use meditation.
I really like this because it's a way to gain to potentially gain a larger number of power points at once, at the cost of not being able to use your normal way to generate power points otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if it needs to be once per encounter. I feel like it being an action that is a D8 roll is enough of a cost.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a. It seems like it's dipping into costs a bit too much, but that's easily tweaked.
Yeah, and the downtime thing. We have the downtime phase, which when you're at the downtime phase, you're pretty much wrapping up for that session or that adventure. So I would personally just have it that you either do the free action approach, in which you can't do meditation, or you do meditation and you can't do the free action approach.
Yep.
Because this sort of choosing between passive and active, we have a lot of within the system, so it definitely tracks.
And
then Dream Eater 2. As Dream Eater, but you instead gain HP or MP equal to 1d6 times the remaining duration of sleep.
Once again, we don't tend to do multipliers with these types of features as dice rolls. I know that it was pointed out that Cardia can be random with its duration and such. But instead, I would just make this a flat multiplier. like 3 times the remaining duration of sleep instead of it, as it's an upgrade to the previous one.
Yeah, and I had reasons for why I did Cardia as a die roll. Um, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Cardia is crucial to. Let me double check how I wrote Cardia just so I'm not talking out of my ass. Uh, and yeah, it is
Cardia. Inflict the cardiac condition with a duration of 1d4 to an ally. Because it's a condition monk. That's why.
Yeah, that was why I did it. And there's a lot of conditioned die rolls.
Yeah, conditions tend to be randomized. The problem I have is the multiplier. Most multipliers are not randomized from what I remember.
Yeah, he said, and Neko says, I can't think, it came to mind because I can't think of anything else that works like that. Most of the consumables that inflict some sort of buff or debuff have it on a die roll. He goes, oh, I missed a crucial part of what you were talking about. And Dao goes, and what I intended for that to do was that you can do meditation at any phase, but the passive generation is a in combat thing only, and once the per round is something that I would have probably thought not had I not rushed. And I'm guessing Nekohime is going through the paramagic rules because of one of the challenges, which we'll get to that later. So, at 6th Circle, you gain Shared Thirst. Whenever an ally would attack an enemy with sleep, you may extend 1 power point to grant them the effects of Dream Eater 1. That's actually nice. I like using what you've got to do some team play.
Yep, that plays into the whole thing.
And 7th Circle, gain the following abilities. Hypnotism 3, except you inflict sleep for 1d6 turns. And Dream Eater 3, as Dream Eater, but you instead gain HP equal to 1d8 times the remaining duration.
That should probably read HP or MP because the others did.
Yep.
And then, again, turning that into a flat multiplier is just a better idea.
Yep. And Mental Mastery. Whenever you would roll a die using a manipulation technique, you may step up the die to determine the duration of that status by 1. Because I have a bunch of questions already, but I'm saving them for when you aren't busy streaming. I'm gonna be streaming for a good amount of the night, even after we finish this. So then we have the manipulation techniques. Compelled Duel. As an action, target one enemy. Make a mind roll versus skill defense. If you succeed, the enemy must attack that target for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. Otherwise, they gain the Berserk condition for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. Then Stockholm. As an action, you may target an enemy. Make a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, you may apply Charmed for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. Otherwise, apply Sleep for 1 turn. And Psychedelic. As an action, you may target one enemy. Make a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, inflict blind and stun for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. And Telekinetic Grasp. As an action, you may target one enemy. Make a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, inflict Entangled for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. Then Amnesia. As an action, you may target one enemy, making a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, inflict Confuse for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. Then Duress. As an action, you may target one enemy, making a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, inflict 1, 2, or 3 Banes on that enemy. Then Dementia. As an action, you may target one enemy and make a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, inflict Sealed for 1d2, 4, or 6 turns. And Phantom Pains. Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
They played us like a damn fiddle monk!
As an action, you may target one enemy. Make a mind roll versus skill defense. On a success, inflict 1d6, 8, or 10 non-elemental damage.
So, the only two I kind of have an issue with are Compelled Duel and Stockholm because they still apply something on a failure and they really should not.
Yep. He had said compel duel is supposed to target an enemy and an ally.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. It's just, if it succeeds, it should succeed and give the effect. If it fails, nothing should happen.
Yeah.
And the cost is the loss of your action, and also if you chose to use power points to step up the durations.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of
as it is though, go ahead.
So I think this answers what I was curious about, what the infliction roll is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's these rolls down here.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, for that, I would say the effect roll.
Yep.
I mean, that's a terminology change, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say out of the three classes we looked at, this is the one that is wholly within its theme, and all of its features reflect that.
Yep.
It feels cohesive. Its limit break could probably do to be a little more powerful, to be honest. It's just doubling your capacity and your gain is kind of, numbers go up.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, it's encapsulated quite well, and it would definitely synergize with other classes very easily, even though it wasn't intentionally designed that way. So if I have to choose a winner, Monk, and I do, the winner is Dathomir. Like, legitimately, his class is the most cohesive thematically as well as mechanically. I hate to say it because I love Sig to death as a person, but I think his was probably the worst of the three.
Yeah, it could have been just due to a rush job. And I did tag Dathomir in the July entry to note, yeah, you're a winner. A winner is you. And I think that I don't want anyone to be discouraged in terms of building their own jobs after this, but to use this as kind of a learning experience about the design goals of how we handle jobs and the best way to take advantage of them within our kit.
Yeah, this is not to say that people are just shit at whatever they're doing. All of our criticism was intended to be constructive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's intended to highlight the design ethos we had behind jobs, which is that they are a complete, self-contained package thematically and mechanically, with a limit break that takes that thematic and mechanical package and blows it up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very simple when I say it. That is very complicated otherwise.
It's for this reason that I think with a lot of the jobs we ended up making, we made the limit break last.
Yeah, we did. We did make the limit breaks last. We went through, determined their kits, and once we had their kits, that's when we decided on a limit break, because it was like, without knowing the kit, we couldn't make a good limit break.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, when I summarize it, it sounds exceptionally simple, but classes, we spent more time on classes than on any other section of the book combined. Even spellcasting. If people are gonna be like, well, spellcasting's so big. I'm like, yeah, but all we had to do was lift spells and mostly just translate over. That's it. We had to decide what spells we didn't want anymore because they just didn't fit, and that was fairly simple. That was a single design session.
Yeah.
And the longest part of spellcasting was the summons.
Mm-hmm. I think some of the big ones when it came to spells we just felt we just dropped were things like gravity, demi, because that percentage damage thing didn't work for us.
Yeah, percentage damage in a tabletop RPG, it can feel really bad or really good depending on who's hitting what and when. Like if you're the party and you just got access to percentage or fractional damage, and you're just steamrolling certain encounters because of it. That feels really good. But if the enemies are the ones with fractional damage and you don't have any real way to mitigate, that feels really fucking bad. It's too swingy.
There's also the fact that it didn't really mesh with the way we have spells scale.
Yeah.
And when it comes to things like gravity that are more about forced movement, we're taking movement very loosely, and I didn't feel like doing whole separate systems just on the off chance that somebody does grid combat.
Yep.
So,
but almost designed something based on the Mother series. I would have loved to see that alternative Psyker. That would have been fun.
Yeah, admittedly, admittedly, a lot of the PK in the Mother series is just magic in a different coat of paint.
PK fire.
But when it comes to the three that we saw, one of the other things, and this ties into that infamous interrogation we had to go through regarding paladins and the fact that paladins don't have light magic on their own. The thing is, when you have just your choice of race and class, the class can afford to have a degree of multi-purposeness, because it's the only real choice that you're making. Even if you multi-class, there's going to be one class that's always the top dog. That's always the primary class. But because of the job system that we have, that sort of multi-purposeness is already baked in by the fact that you have multiple jobs at your disposal. So because of that, each individual job needs to be laser focused on its identity.
Exactly.
And as I've mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of half-casters because they're in a designer's no man's land a lot of the time. Which is why I feel that the Magic Knight fantasy that a lot of people think it is of, oh, you can do fighting and you can do magic, but you're not as good at either as somebody who's dedicated to it. I don't think that's the fantasy. I think the fantasy is somebody who's doing both, which is why I've spoken so highly of the Magus in Pathfinder, because it very much is designed to do both. You're not supposed to be using the fighting and casting separately.
Would just like to point to, the very series we took inspiration from, and point at the Magic Knight in any Final Fantasy game or the Bravely series. Fuck you, they do both, and they do both well.
Mm-hmm. I know they're given a whole separate spell list in a lot of those games, but that's not something I wanted to do. Especially since it would just be the same effect and fire would just be a slight variation of fire.
Yes. And the separate spell list is usually, this is getting put on your weapon, which we already did with Enchanted Arms.
Mm-hmm. And Kaved says, as a magic main in every game I played, Pathfinder's Magus is the best class I have played in anything, period. And it says, this game scares my friend. I keep telling them it's not like multi-classing in the other D20 games they're used to. It's pick 3 or 4 gimmicks. Also, yes, Magus. One of the strongest parallels that I've used when it comes to how I've approached design and customization, as odd as this may sound, and some of you are going to be breaking out the pitchforks for me saying this, but a major influence is some of the Call of Duty games.
I remember this. We've had this discussion.
Mm-hmm. Now, I can already see the pitchforks coming out because I'm daring to say something positive about Call of Duty. Let me be clear. If you're thinking I'm saying something positive about the modern entries, you're wrong. And I want you to sit in your wrongness and be wrong. What I am referring to is games like the original Modern Warfare trilogy, even if 3 was not quite as good, as well as games like Black Ops 1 and 2, and especially Black Ops 2. Essentially, the games that focused on the Pick 10 system as a successor to classes in multiplayer. The idea with the Pick 10 system was you had 10 slots that you could fill in with weapons, with classes, with secondaries, and with tactical items. And while there were certain restrictions, the Pick 10 system would become one of the more popular entries. And you could mess around with it. You could mess around with it to get different approaches. You'd basically take 10 elements to make your loadout. So in some custom games, you could upgrade that to 17. Each element costed a allocation point, and some things you could not put in as much as others. Like, for example, a weapon could only have three attachments. You could take a wild card, which was basically a kind of class, to mess around with that. But for the sake of reference, yeah, this is I'm gonna share with you this image just for the sake of reference. And I'm gonna put this in Sacricity. This is a screenshot example of the Pick 10 system.
Yeah, I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, its best version was in Black Ops 2. They put it in Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 and 4, but Black Ops 3 was shit. Advanced Warfare was forgettable. And Black Ops 4 did not have a campaign, so fuck it. I didn't even play Black Ops 4.
It can go die in a fire.
Ghost had the create a soldier thing, but Ghost sucks. Like, Ghost is considered the most hated entry in the series, especially around that time.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's more about picking and choosing and taking a modular approach rather than focusing on the numbers. I think if someone were to look at a lot of the designs, they'd see that there's an equal amount of height and width with advancement, which was something I wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the three of these, the first two that we covered, the ones by Sig and by Commodore, definitely have the issue of not having a strong enough focus. Sig's version, I love you, man, but the approach you had felt like a class I would see in Castles and Crusades.
Yeah, it if I'm honest, Sig, and I'm always honest, so take that with what you will. The class didn't do enough. Like, it felt very much like a set of sub powers for something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than being its own whole self-contained package.
Yep. And when it came to the one that Commodore had, there was a stronger design, but the problem is that there was some stuff in there that just didn't mesh, or was a case of why is this here? Essentially, if if that one is going to be refined further, the crux of the advice I would give is trim the fat.
And if Commodore is so interested and would want me to do so, I can do a revision on your psychic class to show you how it would probably fit better in our system given the necessary focus and fat trimming. I am the editor-in-chief and the co-dev, so I kind of can do this just a little bit.
Yeah. So that brings us to what we've got planned for this month. Now, aside from the fact that there's going to be a lot of events that I'm going to be doing, since my birthday is this month and the 11-year anniversary of the channel is this month, as well as my 1-year anniversary of being a VTuber. And things like the return of the men who stare at sports ball.
Yes.
We have 2 more challenges that we're going to be doing for the month of August. Now, the first challenge is a shard challenge built around the theme of Civil War. Now, what form the Civil War takes, that is up to you. There just has to be that just has to be reflected in some form. And obviously Final Fantasy Tactics is a major example. I've heard War of the Visions could also fit, but I haven't touched much of War of the Visions aside from grabbing all of its art. It's got some banger art as everybody saw.
As we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Suikoden and some of the Total War games would certainly fit this.
Total War Shogun, maybe.
Yeah.
And Shogun 2, which is the best Total War game, and anyone else who tries to tell me otherwise will rapidly be forced to commit seppuku.
Mm-hmm.
Shogun 2 is my favorite Total War game.
Yep.
Dalthmir, if that's what you're going to do it. I want to see it.
Don't let me stop you.
I want to see the Civil War in Candyland. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking no balls. There you go. There's a deep cut for anyone who remembers that shit.
Mm-hmm. But and thank you for the well wishes. I will be streaming on the 12th and on the 27th to celebrate that kind of thing. Because Lord Licorice versus the rest of Candy Kingdom.
I'm pinning that because that
would certainly fit the bill.
Yes. I want to see this.
Mm-hmm.
You get a pin just for you.
Oh yeah. Doing the We Will Rock You stump over here. That's a lie. I'm on the 2nd floor. That is.
But the other challenge, Monk?
So the other challenge, and this is partially due to a response to what I've been seeing when it comes to the character threads, but this is a character challenge called Advanced. The rule is very simple. You have to make a character using one of the following rule sets: Magicite, Materia, Paramagic/Junction, or the Sphere Grid. Obviously, you cannot pick multiple ones. You have to list out which system you use, and the character has to be 5th level. If you're using the Sphere Grid, which doesn't use levels, you can assume to have a total of 15 spheres.
So, Monk, I'm actually gonna. I think I can do this. Can I edit this? No, you're gonna have to edit this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying this character may be 5th level, you should say this character should be 5th level.
That is fair.
Because maybe 5th level means, I could make it less, right? And people might make it less, and then you'll be like, that's not what I asked for. And I know you.
Yeah. And insofar as in the same vein, when it comes to paramagic, and I had forgotten to put this in. I'd forgotten to put this in. You have for paramagic you have one junctioned Eidolon and 15 spell charges.
Yeah, so you should add that to the list. Oh, to the list, monk. I will be right back myself, though, monk.
Yep. In fact, I think I'm going to reformat this. So sphere grid, you have 15 spheres. Paramagic injunction. You have 15 spell charges. And you have one Eidolon with 5 AP and 15 charges worth of spells. Obviously for materia, I think I already covered that. Let's see, did I? Yeah, materia. You have the whole thing with level and with your slots. So if you're using materia, you're going to have 6 slots and you have 8 AP to distribute. In addition to what you're already getting. So if you want to use 6 slots of materia, then you can. And for Magicite, you can assume that you have 1 Magicite and 100 LP, i.e., you have permanently learned 5 spells.
Yes.
So. Obviously, the permanently learned thing isn't as important as it is for the other systems, but it is worth noting. So if you are using the sphere grid. Hang on, Discord's deciding to be a dingus for a moment. Again.
Then we shall see both of these things, Dalthmir. Perhaps the materia golem shall participate in your war of the sour.
So let me do a little real-time edit. And as far as what Neko had asked, I will tackle that later. And so let me see. I'll do it tomorrow while I'm in downtime between turns tomorrow at my library D&D. No take-backs. So I'm messing around with the concepts for Civil War at the moment, since I don't think I can do advance from scratch at this moment. That's what Brian says. Then Dow says, and totally not also going to make an android character made out of materia/magicite. Do it! Let's see. Brian says, also plotting Spanish Civil War. You know, the thing that always happens in the 1930s. Might be tweaking a lot of things. Oh god, if he's doing this, he's doing the Spanish Civil War. Oh boy. Let's see, Materia Golem. I stand by that statement as much as I do the War of the Sour. Check out the small, the breaking of jaws, or the crumble of empires. No hurry at all. But yeah, that is the plan, and I did mention this early on or not early on, but later on in the stream earlier today. Starting in September, bi-weekly, I'm going to be doing streams that are focused on adapting the core FF games into our system. This is loosely inspired by the character builds I've seen for different Star Trek characters for Star Trek Adventures. And they're distributed in kind of packets. One packet for TOS, one for TNG, one for DS9, including Ben motherfucking Cisco. And,
don't get him started.
And one for Voyager.
Janeway!
But with that said, I'm going to hit the BRB for a minute, and then I'm going to be loading up Titan Quest 2. I was planning on streaming Project Wingman tonight, but Project Wingman didn't want to cooperate.
Monk?
Yep.
I don't think we have any feats associated with junctioned GFs.
No, we do not.
Then why do we have a section that says you can buy a feat with 1 AP associated with the item?
That I think that we had errated into buying 1 feat for 1 AP.
It hadn't been errated yet, so I'm going to change that on the errata log.
But I'll be back in a few minutes, and then I will have Titan Quest 2 loaded up. let me get this set up proper. So that you guys can see shit. It looks like Zan had to take his leave. So, regarding Titan Quest 2, I talked about this on one of the Hangover Shit Show streams a while back. And I said that I wasn't surprised this got announced, because this happened right around the time Diablo 4 dropped and dropped the ball. And I'd said that's gonna be a great advertisement for other ARPGs. But Titan Quest got dismissed early on, and then something happened and it revived itself. And the team behind it would end up doing other things. And now we have a sequel being handled by the team behind Spellforce 3, which, by the way, Spellforce 3 is a really, really damn good game. I mean, I'm biased towards the entire Spellforce series, but that's just me. And a few days ago, it dropped into early access, and we are going to be seeing how we do with it. So let's go with one of the regions. Yeah, I don't think we can do full customization yet because of how early in early access this is. Now let's go with this one. Alright, let's get started. I think we have controller support, but we'll see.
Tell a tale of mortals,
bound by fate's golden strands. Tell of their laughter, their struggles, their glory.
tell of warlike Sparta.
Fate destined them for godlike greatness.
I just realized I forgot to do something.
But the gods had other plans.
Sorry about that, folks. Had to make a small adjustment.
Their ambition angered the goddess.
And winged retribution showed them no mercy. Staining their
strands with darkness.
But don't cut it short.
Tell us the whole story.
Tell us about hope.
I didn't hear no bell. Well, the Spanish can we expect that thing that no one expects. And god damn it, it crashed. Hold on, loading up again. I really hope we don't end up cursing things. "22 years later."
Sing muses of faith and the mortal, watched by the gods on Proti Island, where the story begins.
Looks like we're doing this mouse and keyboard for now. Oh, right.
Tale of the mortals' victories.
Let's see, is there a way to... So, let me try something. Okay, I'm gonna load up DS4 and see if that fixes our little problem here. And because, well, I could do this mouse and keyboard, I prefer doing it with a controller if I can help it. loaded. All right. Animation's a bit weird, but I can deal. Let me get it set up so that I can see you guys in the chat. Okay, so let's pick that up. And equip that.
Tell how brave Aristano prepared him for the hunt.
Alright, so that's our dodge.
A griffin. It's getting more aggressive. The griffin grows more dangerous every day. Its mad cult of worshippers keeps growing. It's time we hunted it down. Are you ready? Good. But first, there's something I must show you. I'll explain on the way. The time has come for you to prove yourself.
Where's that?
Today we hunt the griffin, but before that, remember the shrine at the end of the beach? Let's go.
So there's our map.
You've been training with me a long time. I have just one more thing to teach you.
Okay, so I guess I got to do equipment manually. Oh well. Oh, right, I forgot. Hang on a sec, I forgot to pause. Got some more armor. Yeah, I forgot I had my playlist still up. Sorry about that. Oh, a bow. Take that. Let's see, short bow and... Okay, so an axe. Let's see... I wonder. Okay, so we can do dual wielding. Nice. Shame we can't rotate the camera.
You've been practicing.
Oh, that's already dead. Attributes. Let's see, vigor, might, knowledge, and agility. Let's see what. So fitness does strike and pierce damage, cunning for poison and lightning damage, and resolve for fire and cold damage. Let's see how this is gonna work. Let's see, core stats. Oh, that's just bring it down a few pop-ups. Okay, so it's 5 points for each thing. Let's put it in vigor and might. Heavy curious and a sickness. And linen greaves. I will always take more armor. And what do we have? Insight and greaves. I'll take those. Actually, you know what? Until I get some arrows, it's going to be better to do that. Oh, you are getting replaced. Nice, nice. So let's keep going and see what we've got.
You've never fought the likes of a griffin before. But if you are victorious, people will sing your legend.
I do wish I had a way to turn the camera, but that's common for these kind of games. I'll take the spear.
Here we are. This place was built ages ago by the Mycenaeans. The heroes of old received the gods' gifts at this shrine. You'll need its blessing to stand against the griffin.
Open sesame.
Careful. The priests of Mycenae protect their shrines, even beyond the grave.
Climbing to the top of the rankings in Mecha Break almost feels like playing a Souls-like. Lots of getting your ass beat. Yeah, that tracks. Pretty sure that's just standard fare with any multiplayer game. Let's see. You know, since I'm going with a heavy build, these might be a better fit. Oh, worst case scenario, I can sell it off later.
Door's sealed. Give me a moment.
No worries, man. Stay frost.
Fight them off while I unseal this door. There. Through here.
Finally got a helmet, so I think we've completed the armor set. Alright, anything over here? Yep, we got treasure. A long axe. I think I know just what to do with that.
The ancient Mycenaeans called this the Shrine of Divine Mastery.
Oh.
Only those the shrine chooses can receive its blessing. You're the finest I've ever trained. Go on. See if the shrine answers to you.
You have been measured. Rise and accept your blessing.
Ah, so here's where we get the fun stuff. Let's see. So, Earth. And the skill tree for it. Let's see. Rogue. Storm. And Warfare. I think Warfare is what we're taking. Couple of active skills to... the plus. This also gives the skill capacity, which means you can assign modifiers to customize it. You can always respec later. It looks like it's a case that the more that we spend, the more that this tier thing will be unlocked. And we don't have to choose between active and passive. We appear to have both. So let's take sweep and heavy attack. And it looks like we can do modifiers to them to make them... This kind of reminds me of what Rune was. Alright, so Monk, Mystic Quest was the first Final Fantasy I played full stop. I did get to play 2 on the sewer for brief periods. Everybody gets this. Everybody starts somewhere. Alright, I get it. Take some modifiers, and there's others you can't take. And they're at different tiers, so that's an interesting setup there. And of course I can always unslot, so... Weapon proficiency, so more weapon, that'll be nice. And martial expert, which is going to be doing more damage. Also nice. We can also boost the core abilities, so that's so we can boost our attacks. Because neither borrowed it or owned it, but either lent it out or it became lost in time in my early teens. All I knew was the name, but I had no idea there was an entire series out there. Like I said, everybody starts somewhere. So that both sides of it can get it.
No. This shouldn't be happening. You saw how the shrine reacted. That corruption. Gods. I thought we had more time. No matter. Go. You have the shrine's blessing. You can face the Griffin without me. I have other preparations to make. I'll meet you on the mountain. You must slay the Griffin. You can do this.
A Bardiche. And treasure. a dead end. I think I'll stick with the ants.
May you run forever. Oh, hello. I know I always said Aristano was too hard on you. I thought training every day was pointless. Proti Island is safe. How terribly quickly things can change. The dogs and I were out hunting rabbit. Then a shadow came over us. I wasn't quick enough. Thank you. Make the monster pay.
It's a bit of a glitch, and he's got a bunch of stuff that I cannot afford.
Kill them! Kill the wolves! You useless meat-sack! Who taught you to fight? Damn it! Will someone get me out of this corpse's bag? Well, what are you waiting for? Pick me up. Yes, I'm stuck in this jar. No, you can't open it. But you can take me to the Shrine of Hermes in the cave southwest of here, so that craven cur can fix this.
How exactly does one get stuck in a jar? Mystic Quest was the only one I could find, and it was not until years later I found the game I really wanted to play was 2, because all anyone ever talked about was 3 on the Super. I can get that. Let's see, where are those pauldrons? No, not there. Oh, while I'm at it. Since I'm not in a, since I don't have anyone else on the call, I think we'll take that. No, it might be better to stick with the heavy helm. I just realized I could have sold off some stuff to that guy. I mean, I'm only getting a pittance, but it's something.
Patricus would have liked this spot, I think.
get back at it. Okay, so we have the barrier skill, which we'll probably use later, but not yet. That was a waste. I'll take those.
Ah, this is the cave. Hope you're a better fighter than the last guy.
Wouldn't be an ARPG without fighters. Let's see, a dagger, that's not gonna fit my build, so we're dropping that.
Here, put me on the shrine. Go on. I suppose you're expecting a reward now. Fine. Now get out of here. Your job is done. All right, brother. You've had your fun. Let me out of this jar so I can rip your throat out. Please? Hermes! Hermes!
I don't think he's getting out of that jar anytime soon. I don't think I'll be using that. I already have a short bow, so that's a pass as well. Subject, what do you think of 2? I feel like we'll not get talked about as much as 3 and 6. 2, I put in the same category as a lot of the tunes that came out of that era, where they had something that was successful, but they didn't know what the formula was quite yet. So it was a lot of throwing things at the wall and seeing what happens. You know, you see this with... I think the only one you didn't see that with was Mario 2, because the proper Mario 2 was evil. But what I do think is funny is that a lot of people complained about how you could break it too, and yet I see them playing the Elder Scrolls and doing the exact same thing there. think the issue is that what it was trying to do is something that works better on PC than on console. But like I said, there was a lot of just throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck. Okay, so I gotta go northward. Oddly enough, I think people re-examined 2 after Dissidia, and seeing how Furion worked in that. Nope, not taking that. So let's do a bit of leveling up. Wait, I got 2 more points? Says, I love FF2, I'm in the middle of a playthrough right now. If I'm so inclined, I may revisit FF2 at some point, but I don't consider it high priority. Might use that shield later, but for right now I'm sticking with this dual-wield build that I've got. Let's head over here, because I have a feeling there's going to be... Yep. I already have a bow, and I already have a light shield.
Not enough energy.
Oh right, I forgot. Now that they're higher up, I can apply another mod. Raging attack. Let's see, spin to win maybe? Oh yeah, definitely spin to win. I made the smart move there. But the whole modifier thing feels like what runes were supposed to be in Diablo 3. And looks like we've got our quarry.
No! The village!
You're not a moment early. Where's Aristino? The Griffin's cult is attacking. Oh, they want gold again. Zeus help us. We've nothing left for them to take.
The houses! There are people still trapped inside!
Zeus, Athena, Hera, have mercy! Oh, Harry, please smite these thieves! Thank you!
See, whirlwind attack and I'm only 4th level. How is that so hard, Foxy? Yes, I will always be salty about how stupid of a move that was. Here, that's locked. Can't use that.
No way I'm opening this door! Is it too much? Is it safe to come out now?
Oh, isn't that the way with an ARPG? Tease me with a cool item that I can't use.
Someone! God's cursed griffin worship.
This is the 3rd time in as many months. We have to put a stop to it. The Griffin's leading them.
Well, look who's grown a spine. Which one of you is responsible for this pathetic attempt at resistance? You like playing the hero, do you? Then fight me. My master will enjoy using your corpse as a plaything.
Not another attack! I'll protect the villagers. You take care of the cultists.
And that takes care of that. We won't need the portal just yet.
That Griffin is a curse on us all. We can't keep fending off these attacks. Not me. I'm too old to go chasing down Griffins. But you... Which god gave you those gifts? The cultists blocked the path up the mountain. But there's another way, through the ruins. Take it, and teach those cultists a lesson while you're at it. Don't forget to destroy the Griffin's nest, too. We can't risk another Griffin moving in.
Not much there. got a bridge. And I think I'm gonna need something special. Wait, I think this is the route. Looks like it. Oh, more skeletons. And even more skeletons.
State your wish. You have already received the blessing of the gods. Prove your worth. You have been measured. And you have been found worthy. Come and receive your blessing.
Oh, this is how we're doing multi-classing. I get it. Let's add a home ec to it. And for this one, I have no idea the pain of trying to find it. I have to depend on word of mouth. Oh, I am very familiar with all of that.
Rise, twice blessed of the gods.
Oh, lovely. We're dealing with the whole thing of giving me equipment I can't fucking use. I love ARPGs, but this is one thing that will always annoy me. The other stuff is nice, but Whirlwind seems to be just nicer. Especially since enemies like to gang up on you anyways. Get back here.
No one's crazy enough to go through the ruin.
What?
over here.
Well, if it isn't the hero of Proti Village. Come to bask in my presence, have you? Be warned, my servants were weak, but I am as terrible as I am beautiful! That makes sense. And it's hot dish, not hot plate. A hot plate's a completely different thing.
I need to wait.
Down goes the griffin.
At last. Do you know who I am? No, I didn't think so. You're oblivious to your fate. She did a good job hiding you from me. Aristono, my priestess. But she couldn't hide you forever. I am Retribution herself. And you were marked for punishment long ago.
Goddess! Stop! I beg you! There's no justice in this punishment.
Justice? Ha! We're all just flies in the spider web of the fates. Blame them, not me.
Arayan! Now! Go! Run! I'll distract her. Get to the caves! The cliff! Hurry!
Okay, well.
Not yet.
Which clip is... Oh.
Run as far as you like. I will always pursue. The fates have cursed us both. I am showing you mercy. What will you do when she's no longer there to protect?
It's my fault she found you. When you used the mastery shrines, it must have alerted her to your presence. I bought her some time, but we need to move. Nemesis's servants will be close by.
Speaking of servants... Nothing is as Midwest as arguing about stovetop versus oven for goulash,
is,
casserole, or hot plate.
She's wanted to destroy you since you were a baby. I was her faithful priestess. When she demanded I bring you to her for punishment.
Gotta love spin to win.
It was madness. I couldn't do it. What could an infant do to deserve eternal punishment?
Yeah, that was a bit of a glitch there. I think.
There, the boat. As long as you're on this island, Nemesis is a threat to everyone here. We need to leave. We need to sail for Pyrgos. There's an entrance near there to the realm of the Moirai. The goddesses of fate. Nemesis fears you because of a prophecy. I don't know what prophecy, but the Moirai will be able to tell us. Here, wear this. Cover your face. And take this charm, my horse charm. It belongs to an old friend. It will protect you. And remember, seek the Moirai Temple.
So brave Aristano perished. And the mortal fled. Storm-tossed, they sank beneath the waters, crying out for a protector.
And so a protector came. With fragmentation. So that's how divinity is going to work.
Tormented by retribution, the mortal woke on a strange shore, alone.
doing a mage build, so I'm not taking it. Whirlwind like this is a little too useful. It also really drains energy.
Hello?
No, that's not going to be much use.
You're alive. Thank the gods. Remember the charm Aristino gave you? Shaped like a horse. That's me. We must have separated in the wreck. Hurry, find me.
Okay, how exactly am I supposed to use that? Let's head back here. And I think for now, that's where we will wrap it up. So I'll be back here tomorrow with an interview and maybe a bit more gaming. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay frosty, everybody.
Thank you.